A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. And today we are going to be discussing the SAA versus West Indies A tour. It's the third and final test in the series. And we're going to discuss obviously what took place in the match and everything that happened in the game. Not necessarily the start to the game that the SAA team would have wanted completely, but there were some performances that we can maybe speak about and mention on today's show. You guys can also get in the live chat and comment and talk a little bit about everything else as well that has been happening recently. You know that obviously the India series will start this Sunday with the first T20I, and we'll be able to obviously do preview shows on all of that about this particular game. We'll do one on Friday, heading into the weekend fixture. So we can talk a little bit more about things now that things have settled with regards to the selection. I've had a couple of thoughts about the squad and a little bit more of a deeper introspection when it comes to the squad and the selections that have been made, and looking for similarities in or consistencies in what Rob and Shukri have done since they've taken over the job, if there is any so far within this worst year of their tenure. But before we get going, before we get started, I'd like you guys to please subscribe if you're new and click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. I am busy to get you guys the new issue out as early as possible. We are bringing it out a little bit later in the month because the previous one we obviously want to time it correctly with the World Cup. And so during that period, obviously, we tried to bring out the magazine when it is best suited towards the World Cup. So we have shifted it a bit around for the last couple of issues. So we are working on the latest issue as we speak and trying to get it to you as soon as possible. So stay tuned for that over the next couple of days. So, guys, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing this with you guys, answering your questions, doing all of those type of things. It's going to be a nice. I think it's going to be an enjoyable show from that. Hey guys, sorry about that. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine, and this is your review show. I'm your host Khalid Moeddin, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points when it comes to the SAA game. You, it seems like every time you run your intro, the system is bugging because before that you will. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with regards to that. Um, there's something going on with regards to the system, the system that we are using currently, we did get an error message earlier on to say that they're doing some diagnostic tests and stuff like that to get things moving. So apologies for that. There is something that's going on with regards to that they're trying to fix. So I'm hoping I'm clear now, and let me know in the live chat if I'm all clear now and you guys are seeing me, and we can continue with the show now. So I hope that is all good for as we continue this conversation. So let me get into the what's happened with the West Indies game. There has been a little bit of things that is concerning, and I'm gonna get straight into it. And maybe I shouldn't mince my words when it comes to this, or maybe I should be a little bit careful of what I say. I don't know. I'm just gonna try to be as honest as possible when it comes to giving you guys some insight into this. So. As you can see, the West South Africa won the toss and they opted to bat first. And there were some changes made in this particular game. There were some changes made. Coach Shukri decided to rest a certain amount of players that are going to probably be involved in the India tour, um, and give some other opportunities to the guys, some other guys in the SAA side, now that they have been selected, of course. Now, one of those players is Tony De Zorzi, who was left out, and Reinhard van Tonderde was given the opportunity to open up the batting. And he looked very good for his 25, and then kind of gave his wicket away. Um, it was a very loose shot, and he was very disappointed about that as well, as you could see after he lost his wicket. He went out for 25. But Neil Brandt once again performed as a captain with the bat. Fortunately, couldn't get another century, but he did get 62 of 93 balls. He's starting to look like a very gritty type of player, Algar-esque, you could say, in a way, the way he goes about his business. Very gritty, very he tries to get stuck in and spend as much time as possible at the crease, and then try to get himself into a good position to score a lot of runs. So that is something that we seem to be seeing, or I'm seeing that within his game currently. And I would say that him and another batter, Kyle Zondo, are the ones that kind of saved this innings, because other than that, it was a pretty poor batting display by the other batters. David Bellingham went out for 5. Zubair Hamza looked good on 30 again, looking good, and then getting a good start and then losing his wicket again, which is very unfortunate for Zubair, who is obviously looking to impress the selectors, etc. And it hasn't really looked good on his part. He hasn't necessarily gone on that path to be able to do so far. I mean, he was looking really good for his 30, batting at a decent strike rate, and then lost his wicket. To be fair, a lot of people might said that they didn't really think that he nicked it. Some of the commentators that were speaking about it, they said they never really heard anything. But the umpire did give it out. It was a loud appeal. He cut at a wide shot and a wide delivery. He had a wide cut at the wide delivery, and then apparently nicked it to the keeper. And he seemed to be very disappointed with the decision as well, implying that he didn't nick it. So a little bit unfortunate there, perhaps. We don't know, because we couldn't really hear the audio ourselves while watching the stream. So we can only go with what the body language and what the commentators said. Then we had Kaya Zondo, who really kept the innings together for South Africa. He got 70 of 114 balls, with 7 fours and 2 sixes. 179 minutes at the crease. So that just shows the determination that he showed within this in this particular match. He really did his best to try and stick it out and try to get it done. Unfortunately, he didn't. There was some fight back from Rwanda Swart with his 18, and Clyde Fontaine with his 25, and Huddersfield Yoon with his 24 that stuck around with Kaya. But unfortunately, he lost his wicket, and then everything kind of went down the drain ultimately after that. After he lost his wicket, then Hardus fell, and then Dane Patterson, sorry, fell shortly after that. And South Africa were all out for 274. So bar Brandt and Zondo, the batting was pretty awful today. And we're hoping that there's obviously going to be a better performance in the second innings from South Africa when they get a chance to bat second. Another positive is that Olivier took a wicket of Chanderpaul, the dangerous Chanderpaul. So they are 17 for 1 currently, the West Indies. So hopefully South Africa. There has been some talk about possible rain around the area for day 2 and day 3. So if it is a bit overcast tomorrow morning, South Africa must try and get as many wickets and movement on the pitch to try and get those early wickets so that they can put them on the back foot. But yeah, some disappointing performances. I thought I was hoping that with David Beddingham's call up to the test side that he could have, we could have seen some free flowing batting from him and getting him into some form heading before the test series. And unfortunately, we didn't see that. Uh, a lot of the batters threw their wickets away, and I think he was one of them too, trying to go for a very expansive shot, and then losing his wicket. He does play. His brand of cricket is quite attacking. That is natural for him. And you could see he was also very disappointed. But I was hoping that David Bedingham could get some. There's a second innings still. I don't want to be too critical right now because there is a second innings to redeem themselves. We could see that some batters have done that in the series already, like KP, for example, redeeming himself in a second innings and getting a good score. So there is still a chance and an opportunity for him to really come back in this game. I would like to personally see him score a big score, be ahead of the India series, just to get his confidence up, just to get him feeling confident going into this India tour. It is likely that he will start the game. And because if you see how many batters were selected, it kind of gives you an indication for that tour, how many, what the team will kind of be like already. You can kind of see that, because you know that on the India tour, 8 batters have been selected. So you can kind of look at this and say, okay, you kind of know who's going to be in that 11. Temba, Dean, Aiden and Dean opening the batting, Tony DeZorzi at 3. We're most likely going to see the likes of David Bedingham maybe batting at 4, Calvin Rayner maybe at 4. These are all possibilities. And Keegan Peterson also batting in this lineup as well. So it's going to be a very interesting lineup, but we kind of we can kind of see what they can do. They could also pick 7 batters. We could maybe see for the first time actually South Africa actually pick 7 batters. That could be a possibility as well against India, depending on the conditions, etc., and all of those type of things. But they're all a possibility of happening. So let's hope that we can see maybe a better performance from the boys in the second innings with the bat. But the job needs to be done with the ball tomorrow. We need Patterson, Olivier to step up. If it is a bit of overcast conditions, utilize it and try to come back and take early wickets in the match, because that's, I think, is going to be the main thing for South Africa. They need to be able to take the wickets that they can early on, put the opposition under pressure, and really take the game to the West Indies batters, because we need to be we need to find a way to try and force wickets. Ultimately, that's what we need to try and do. So I'm hoping that this pitch gives us the same type of reaction, kind of, or we can produce the similar type of bowling performance like the West Indies did. They got an amazing amount of momentum throughout this series, and they just keep getting better with the ball. And I'm hoping that South Africa can match it. We only saw 2 bowlers bowl so far, So let's see what happens with the others. Mapongwana, Hardesviljoen, Ruan de Swart. Let's see what they have to offer. Perhaps Neil Brandt with a spinning, because Time Pete is not playing in this match. So let's see what happens with regards to that. Anyway, let's get into the live chat and see what you guys have to say. Sabir saying hi. Hi, Sabir. Um, Video stuck. Okay, yeah, that was earlier on. Of course, I tried to sort that out. Khalid, are you a cricket journalist? Um, Technically speaking, I was a cricket journalist, you could say. I still am by qualification and trade, you could say. But I've started Cricket Fanatics with an opportunity to try and give fans the space and a platform to be able to express themselves and speak about cricket openly and freely without having the restraints of of the journalistic tag in a way. Because with a journalistic tag, you get there are certain criteria that you need to follow. You need to obviously report in a certain way. So, being head of Cricket Fanatics magazine, it's a place where fans are giving their opinions on the game. We do have a couple of writers, but they are fans of the game ultimately. They're not necessarily all cricket journalists. I do try and help writers to come through us and learn the trade, from learn from what they can from me, from the experience that I've built in the industry. And I try and take them through that processes and teach them about them, give them a platform and a place for them to house their content, so that they can perhaps move on and go work for a bigger company that actually is a journalism company. So I am, to an extent, I am, you could say, but ultimately I'm a cricket fan, and that's why I started Cricket Fanatics magazine. And I wanted to speak like a fan. I didn't want to speak necessarily like a journalist. Obviously, my skills as a journalist that I've learned and I've picked up, I use it obviously to my advantage to be able to do interviews and to write stories, and I do come with that experience in it. But I try to keep it fanatical and keep the fan authentic content to it. I try to do that as best as I possibly can. Um, Lawrence says, bars Brandt and Zondo, the batting was rather disappointing. To be honest, Brandt and Zondo also had opportunities to convert their 50s into centuries. Brandt at first class level, 1950s, only 6 tons. Something to work on, 100%. And we've spoken about conversion rates on this channel quite a bit. We've often spoken about conversion rates and how important that is to show um, how batters can step up, from domestic cricket into international cricket. Because if you can't convert domestically, like I've always said, if you can't convert domestically, it's going to be very difficult for you to convert internationally, and that's something that we need to see happen, with regards to certain players. Now, that is something that he needs to work on. Um, so ultimately, we need to see certain players obviously learn how to convert. Um, it's important to obviously learn certain skills to try and get you over the line consistently. We've done plenty of issues in the magazine talking about that. I've done plenty of interviews asking players that on this channel to try and get an insight from different batters. We spoke to Dean, we've spoken to Aiden, spoken to Ashwell Prince, and spoken to various different people from all different times within cricket to try and get an understanding of what it takes to score big hundreds, big centuries. What does it take to do that, and to do it consistently as well. So that is something that you guys can see in our exclusive section on this page. Azim says tons don't get you wins. 50s are good enough. Um, I disagree. I think majority of the time when one player does score 100, it puts a team in a almost inevitable winning position. It's very seldom that teams that score a couple of tons um, don't win a game of cricket. It's very seldom that happens, especially in this modern day game. Yes, if you can get a couple of 50s in one innings, sure. But if you're not getting runs around you, one particular ton can save you and win you a game. I think so. If the rest of the team don't perform, it's on them. Lawrence says Bedingham chucked his wicket away by trying to go for a big shot. He really looked disappointed as he walked back to the changing room. You knew this was an opportunity to claim a test starting spot. Yeah, he still has a second bite at the cherry. There will be a second innings, and you'll get an opportunity to be able to bat again and show that. Um, in all honesty, though, I think that test spot is should kind of be is automatically almost. Um, Although I can see obviously a situation where Hayden, Dean, Tony, Keegan, I can see him at 5, and then Carl at 6, and then your two all rounders. So I can see that happening. Possibly you could also play a distance stubs instead of one of the all rounders. It's also a possibility. But um, I think the coach backs him from the audio file we've listened to. It does seem that he's backed him. That he backs him. The Proteas batsmen threw their wickets all the time, throw away the wickets all the time. Yes, that's something that they need to get out of their system. It mustn't start to become a habit now. Lawrence says, because the way Shukri bigged him up yesterday, it does sound like he backs David to maybe get at least one test against India. As you know, I like David, so hopefully he gets runs in the second innings. Hopefully he does. I'm shocked that Stubbs was selected. How well does he do in 4-day cricket? Well, at the moment, he is doing pretty well in 4-day cricket. Um, he has been doing pretty well, I think, in the last 2 seasons in 4-day cricket. He averages 44 in first class cricket in 15 games. He has 400s and 150. So when it comes to his first class cricket game, I think he's pretty decent at first class cricket. At the moment, recently he scored 130 in a match against the Lions in Kabeja. Very difficult conditions as well. He bats pretty quickly as well, which also helps. But for the start of his first class career so far, with 15 games, an average of 44 with 400s and a 50, I think that's pretty decent for a player that just started 4-day cricket not too long ago. So I think the thought process of him is also the way he plays the game. He plays the game pretty quickly as well, and I know that Coach Shukri is admirable of that. David also competes at 2 spots for the test side, at 3 and at 5. So of Tony DeZorzio or KP, if Tony DeZorzio and KP don't perform in the first test, I won't be surprised if David comes in for the Cape Town test. Players are getting out to spin on a flat pitch, always is big issue. Temba Bavuma. So we've got Aiden. I forgot about Temba. Aiden, Dean, Tony, Temba, and then you've got KP or David, and then Carl. Okay, I see it now, where it might come into a problem. Players are getting out to spin on a flat pitch, always is a big issue. In my opinion, I think Bedingham is ahead of Stubbs when it comes to selection just because of a body of work and experience. Don't know if you agree. I agree. Currently, I agree. David Bedingham, I've always wanted him to be in the Protea side at some point in the Test side. Initially, when the talks were coming out about his possibly playing for England, I mean, we broke the story on Cricket Fanatics magazine. We did an interview with him to get his quotes. I was pretty sad about it because I was hoping that he would play for South Africa and that his time would come. It didn't come under Boucher. and that was the major disappointment for me. But now he's going to get his opportunity and hopefully get a game, and that could be a big plus for South Africa if that happens. I think Stubbs has experience. Well, he's only has 15 games under his belt when it comes to first class cricket, so he is quite new to the first class cricket game. But if you look at some of the guys that play with that attacking brand of cricket within the 4-day arena, there aren't many of them, and out of them, the most experienced one is Tristan Stubbs. True, but first class experience of David is superior. Yes, no, I'm not thinking. Um, I don't think that necessarily Tristan is the first choice in that top six. I think at the moment, like I said, it'll be between KP and David for that five position, and then six would be Calvarena. It's also possible that David could keep, but I think you wouldn't do that with Calvarena in the side with the runs that he's been scoring last 4 years, 4 years. Best keeper in the country, in my opinion, as well, with regards to technique behind the stumps. So I don't think Kyle will fall out of that team. We could see them all play if perhaps we do play with seven batters, but we're not 100% sure if we're going to see that. There's still Mulder at seven, could be, and Marco at eight. So there's those are both guys that are capable with the bat too. So it's going to be very interesting how we line up and who Coach Shukri will trust. I have some stats for you, Khalid. Maharaj has taken 8 wickets in 7 tests versus India at an average of 94.75. In 5 tests at Centurion, he has taken 3 wickets at a bowling average of 114. Yeah, that's not that great, eh? It's very likely that we don't see a spinner in certain venues, but perhaps, Centurion, we might um, see Cash be utilized a little bit. It's also very possible that we don't see him at all. So they've gone with one spinner as just in case. Remember that those conditions as well in Centurion and stuff are not necessarily always conducive to spin. You kind of just have that spinner in your side to try and just hold up an end in a way, and get wickets if you can. But it is difficult to bowl in South Africa against top opposition. Well, if the wicket's not turning, kid innings by Zondo that. Um, I was saying that Mapungwani is nowhere near Swanepoel either with his batting or bowling today. It has been proven. Um, I think Mapungwani still has a lot of development to do. He's not batting like himself currently, to be honest with you. This is not the same player that I see for Western Province at the moment, and that's naturally possible to happen when you get called, when you get the step up and you get moved up into international cricket. So it hasn't been a tour that he would probably be proud of when it comes to the bat. He's shown signs of it with the ball. He's bowled very decently with the ball. But Baye Swanepoel is someone um, that I think should be in the minds of the selectors, etc. He had a very good season. It was like basically his first season, basically last season, you could say, breakthrough season for him. So if he can back it up again this season, um, then we could possibly see him in SIA sides and SIA tours going forward. Um, so problems here again with this bloody platform. Um, we should look to play four seamers at Centurion. We probably will. That's why I'm saying Centurion is going to be most likely will be not flat. Um, it's not flat, but it's not necessarily, there is a little bit, you could say a little bit in it for the bowlers in certain sessions. But it won't be completely flat. But I most likely would, I think at the moment in this heat, in the heat that they're getting at the moment, I think that we probably will see four seamers. Why Joshua Rich is not considered for SAA? His conversion rate is excellent. Um, Joshua Richards, 10 first class hundreds and 950s in mid 40s. Um, average in the mid 40s, 24 years old. Yeah, I think the reason he's also currently because of, I won't be able to give you an answer for that, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of a logical explanation for that. I think Joshua Richards is someone that is on his way to getting that opportunity. He is, I think, for me personally, should be next in line when it comes to that. He's been in great form. He has had a good start to his career, but when it comes to 4-day cricket, because remember that um, on Crick Info, when you look at his stats, those stats include 3-day cricket, and I'm not 100% sure how much 3-day cricket he actually played. Um, but those will include games played for the Lion for Gauteng province when they were still at the 3-day competition. So it's not only 4-day cricket. So you have to look at his stats in 4-day cricket alone, because he obviously debuted for Gauteng in 2018. So there's a lot of 3-day games included in those stats as well. And so far this season, when it comes to first class cricket, he hasn't really kicked off to score big hundreds. So that's perhaps one of the reasons. Last season he was a bit up and down with regards to his performances. So I think that has a bit to do with it as well. Lawrence says Centurion is one of the toughest pitches to predict. Yep. Sometimes it's a seamless paradise, other times it's a good contest between bat and ball. It can also play up and down. Yes. So that's why you need to have the spinner in your squad in case on the morning you look at the wicket and it maybe doesn't look like a paradise or a flat pitch or a seamers friendly wicket, then you do have the option of picking a spinner if it's going to deteriorate later on. We saw that in the West Indies series when Coach Shukri had the West Indies over there. Keshav actually ended up playing a decent role with the ball and then got injured, terribly injured in that series as well. That put him out for quite some long time, but he was bowling really well. Aruna says Bayers has bowling average of 19 in first class cricket and 20 in 1-day. So he should have been before him. That's crazy because he didn't get selected for any. There aren't many bowlers in the world that has such an average. While last year was his first year in Division 1. So I don't know if they're waiting to see how he backs that up this season and if he can keep that consistency. Because Mapungwana has also had now 2 seasons. I think it is now 2 seasons before this one. So he's now in his third season, I think, for Western Province at the moment. But Bayes Swanepoel should be knocking on the door, in my opinion. He is a very talented bowler, swings the ball and can bat. So I'm hoping that in future SA8, maybe this SA8 tour against India now, we'll see them get opportunities. And I think Mapungwana got his opportunity based on his performances in big matches, in finals, semi-finals, etc., like those type of games, big games. He hit 100 in the final against Northwest to win the trophy, first trophy in I don't know how many years, 6 years or longer than that, probably for Western Province. So incredible performance that was. I feel Bedingham was batting out of position today. Normally comes in at 4 and 5. Still think Bellingham should play both games against India. Let's see if that happens. Harley, do you think we will go with all seam attack and drop Kesh in those spicy pitches? Kesh won't play much role. Newlands might. He might play a role in Newlands. I've seen how spin has been utilized very well in the last couple of 4-day games at Newlands. Bjorn Fortuin was really successful at Newlands against Western Province when they beat them. And Kyle Simmons has been finding some purchase on the wicket as well from a Western Province perspective as well. So I do think there might be something in it at Newlands to have the spinner. Centurion might be conditions dependent. We'll know because it's very difficult to read that and know that beforehand. We'll have to wait and see on the day and read the pitch to be able to tell what we're going to do there. Unfortunately, I know it's a boring answer, but that's the correct answer to give you. Holly, why are we still no sponsors? 7. Why CSA is not doing anything about it? I was told the last time I asked about the sponsor, I was told that something's in the works. So I don't know how much, when that's going to be happening, and when it's going to be, if there's going to be any major announcement with regards to a sponsor. So we'll have to wait and see for that. Matt 92 says, just hope Bellingham gets a consistent run in the team, unlike Rickerton, who played one test here and there. I think they're going to be, with regards to that, I think they're going to be consistent with that. I don't know how many opportunities they're going to be giving to people for how long. We're going to have to monitor that now. Rickerton got 2 opportunities to play test cricket, a couple of opportunities to play test cricket. And they haven't gone back to him. It's hard to ignore someone like Calvert-Lewin and David Bellingham currently. The way they've been performing over the last 2, 3, 4 seasons has been crazy. I mean, I was really shocked when Calvert-Lewin wasn't selected in the first place. So I think Kyle deserves to be in the Proteas side based on his performances domestically. And also he's got now 100 under his belt in Test cricket in New Zealand. So I think he's someone that is really starting to settle into his natural game. So I'm hoping that there's an opportunity with regards to that. But so far, we don't know what's going to happen with regards to these players, how many opportunities they're going to get. We're going to have to wait and see how things unfold, and then we can make a more logical decision or a better calculated guess, well, not a guess, but a calculated analysis of it after a period of time, because I can't predict what they are doing from just one incident. So we're going to have to wait and see for that. Azim says, Bo Shukri and our white ball coach said CSA are focusing on the Test Championship. Yep. Holly, why Grant Woodward is not in the discussion to replace Quinny in ODI? Because currently he hasn't necessarily been performing for the Dolphins at the same level as he was in previous tournaments. So it's something that we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, we're going to have to see who's going to replace Quinny. That is something that we're going to have to monitor. At the moment, I think Tony Lezors is going to get that opening spot with Riza Hendricks. So let's see how Tony fares at the international level in that position. And we take it from there. I would like to see Berger debut on Centurion instead of Kesh. I think most likely he would. I think those conditions are perfect for him. Player's ability to play spin is really bad in a squad. Yeah, that was a 5 for taken today by the spinner. Really looking forward to see a few new names in the SAA squad for the India A series. Do want to see the likes of Rickerton, Swanepoel, Richards, etc. get a go. We've seen the pool for the New Zealand series now. Yep. So it would be nice to see those other guys get an opportunity against India A. And then they need to put up their hands, and perform. Matt 92, will this be potentially be Alga's last series? It's possible. I've heard talk, rumors, I mean, loose rumors about that this could possibly be his last tour. I don't know if it is, I don't know if it isn't. Um, it's just flutterings that I've heard, not from any particularly um, reliable sources or anything. There's just been talk about it, but I don't know. It's a possibility. It's that it could be. It could also not be. Um, we'll have to wait and see. Why Tony struggles against spin? Saw him struggle more in Sri Lanka. Yeah, I think it's just about finding an effective attacking game plan for himself against spin. And I'm sure that the batting coach and Ashwin Prince, etc., will be working on it with him. We should prepare pitches to negate India spinners Jadeja and Ashwin, says Matt. Azim says SA history on playing India in Centurion is bad. No, we beat India in Centurion in 2020 in 2018, 2019, 2018, I think it was. And then we played them. Did we play them again at Centurion during COVID? I think we did against in them again. Played against them in COVID, and then I think we lost that game. I can't remember now, but I know we beat. I remember being at the game when we beat them in Centurion when Adam Markram scored a 90 odd. Um, so history on playing on Indian conditions showed in okay. Bayes is more suited to number 7 in white ball cricket than Mulder and Michlali. Bayes is more aggressive batter than them. You could say so. I mean, Michlali showed a brilliant performance at 7 for Western Province um, in the final. He was brilliant in that game. A shame the series is not 3 tests. It's most likely in a draw. Yeah, it's a shame. I wish we did play 3 tests against India as we usually do. I think pitches will be the same as the domestic game pitches in India series. Pitches will be more spicy and green. Um, it's possible that it could be, and also possible that it won't be. With Centurion specifically, you don't know. It's got a lot to do with the weather conditions, the heat, and all of that type of things as well. Calvarena is genius. Really excited to see him in the series. Is Wesley. Lawrence Bailey says people need to understand a test match is 5 days. Going off the weather report, PTA has really been really hot and dry, so the wicket will most probably be on the dry side if the weather keeps up. Cash is an option. Yes, if that's the case, then Cash is definitely an option, and that's why we have him in the squad. Kani says, for me, Lunda, Forte, and Shamsi offer more than Cash in T20s. Yeah, that is kind of. I mean, I agree with you. Matt 92 says, is Armour injured? I haven't seen him play domestic cricket this season. I haven't. I actually don't know what's up with Armour. That is a very, very good question. The last time he played is 26th of September 2023. It's very likely that he is injured. Tony and Riza is not good opening pair. We need an aggressive opener. Yeah, we'll see. Mzanzi Comic Club says Ryan Ricks missed out, methinks. However, overall fear foresight, and strategy in selection of all formats by the coaches. A fair foresight. Shukri and Rob are doing well in this regards. I'll go to retire after India, he says Zanzi. Comic Club, sorry. Dex says Tony and Riza are similar type of players. We need someone like Quinny. There aren't many players like Quinny though. So yeah, it's someone that we need to find that can bat like Quinny, I guess. Wesley, sorry, the comments are coming in a bit slow. Khalid, is there any chance we can organize some tests outside of the ICC schedule next year? We don't play much test cricket. We don't. And there is a possibility of that happening. And I know there was talks about doing that, perhaps getting a couple of more games in between. But we'll have to wait and see about that. I won't be able to tell you. It is possible. And there was talks. There was apparently going to be talks surrounding that and whether that is possible against some other nations in between that are outside of the test championship circuit. So that there is a possibility of that possibly happening. But yeah, we need to. The problem also is it's not only that we play few test series, we also play little test matches. That's also a problem. You know, we don't we could at least make these test championship games a little longer. You know, have a little bit maybe 3 or 4 test matches. Um, but we also only play two test matches in a series, which is pretty crappy. Lauren says, come on now. Sorry, guys, this thing is taking forever to load. Um, think we'll see Alga play the India series as well as the against New Zealand, Sri Lanka in September, and probably retire against Pakistan in December, says Lawrence. Wesley says it's the Wanderers and Kingsmead where we are bad versus India. Yeah, we bad. We Wanderers. We lose against them in um, yeah, we lost to them at the Wanderers. I remember that clearly on a very uh, dodgy wicket as well. I think the Wanderers were almost going to be under investigation for that wicket. Lost a Centurion in the last tour. Rahul scored a century. Siskani. Yeah, especially the way Quinton de Kock and Faf contract negotiations were handled by Rob Walter specifically. Pipeline of young talent quite apparent by both Conrad and Walters. Ryan Ricks was a missed opportunity. Yeah, the contracted situation is weird because those contracted players aren't even playing or not even in these squads. It's weird. Armour hasn't played domestic cricket for 2 months now. Really hope he's all good. Armour is playing county cricket for Essex. The last time he played was in September. Aiden need to open more aggressive. That could also be a possibility. I wouldn't mind that seeing that happen. I want our bat. Dick says I want our batters to score big hundreds and 400 plus scores this time. Yes, that would be great to see. Of course, I mean I would love to see that as well. Ireland and Bangladesh tours would work well. That we are playing Bangladesh though next year. Rickelton is the closest thing to Quinton de Kock in white ball cricket. He is more attacking than both Riza and Tony Rizorzi. Not that those two bat slow, because they don't. Ryan and Riza also opens for the Lions. Um, let me just check this quickly because I want to just double check this because I'm not 100% sure. Because I also thought the same thing as you when it comes to Ryan Rickelton's um, how quickly he bats, for example. Can you load, please? Gee whiz. I just want to double check that. Um, it's oh, flip. I'm supposed to go overview. So, Lions list A strike rate is 89.89. Come on. And in ODIs, his strike rate, okay, he only played two ODIs, but his strike rate was 65. Um, then Tony DeZorzi, two ODIs, his strike rate was 100, but okay, they both didn't score any runs in those two matches that they played. But his list day strike rate is 84. So Ryan Rickleton is slightly quicker than Tony DeZorzi. Not by much, but slightly. Tony does have more hundreds um, than Ryan. No, Ryan has more hundreds than him. They have the same amount of 50s. Um, that's overall. Now, in this last competition, that's what I wanted to actually check. Um, Riza Hendricks, what's Riza Hendricks' strike rate? Because he bats pretty quickly these days. He's really upped his game um, with regards to that. His strike rate is around about the same as Ryan, 86.73. They all have a similar strike rate, actually. In ODIs, Riza's strike rate is 80, so it's slightly slower there. But what I want to check is this list day competition now that took place. Um, I just want to see in the Division One Day Cup this season how their strike rates compare when it comes to this particular tournament. I do feel sorry. I really do feel sorry for Ryan Rickleton. When I did some research late early on in the day because I wanted to just check something. What I did notice though is that a lot of Ryan's hundreds and stuff like that come at the Johannesburg. I know he scored a couple at Newlands, but a lot of his big scores. Sorry, guys. A lot of his big scores happen take place at the Wanderers at his home ground. So that is something also to be aware. I went through some of his recent performances, and a lot of them are coming at the high felt or the flatter pitches. Tony does score a lot of these runs in the coast, which is something that is also a positive for him. Uh, this thing's, I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's taking so long to bloody load. Maybe we can play a series against Zim Island or Afghanistan outside of the Test Championship. We know that is a possibility. Gorov says we can drop cash and play batter. Aiden can bowl some overs. I just want to also check this season because the top run scorer in this One Day Cup was Reina van Tonde, actually, and Keegan Peterson was second on the list. which is interesting. But I just want to compare Ryan Rickleton in this tournament, in this recent tournament, because, like they said, the coaches said that Rob said specifically that it's based on recent performances that they've picked, decided to go with the teams that the players that they've picked, like Kyle Verreynne and Tony DeZorzi. So Kyle's game this season has been ridiculous. He averaged 54, scored 200s and a 50, and his strike rate is 120 for Western Province in the domestic setup this season. Scored over 300 runs. Tony DeZorzi played 7 matches, 319, strike rate of 116, 100, 150. And then Ryan Rickleton this season played 7 matches, 216 runs, 88.88 with 250s. So Ryan bats at around that 88 mark. But what Kyle and Tony showed is that they can up their strike rate to like 120, 116, 120, 110. The season they proved that. And there has been a massive change in Western Province's approach to cricket. They're playing on a lot more aggressive style of play. And this is also what the coach relate to us as well and explain to us. So they're playing at a lot more of attacking game, both of them. So that could also be the reason why where Ryan is sitting around that 88 mark, strike rate wise. Aiden Markram should captain till Champions Trophy, says Abhinav. Wesley says, how did you think Janssen and Kutsia could be as good as Mokel and Stein? I see some similarities. I think they'll be their own types of players, but I think they'll be very good soldiers for South Africa right through. I think they're brilliant. Is Quinton de Kock retired from T20 also? No, like we said on the show yesterday, Coach Rob expressed that Quinton did want to retire from all formats of the game, but he spoke Quinton out of it. He talked Quinton out of it. And they agreed that he can go play Big Bash and go play his leagues, and they'll still pick him because he's a contracted player, though. But they will still pick him probably for the T20s and the World Cups, etc. Strike rates are important metric to look at for white ball cricket when selecting batters. Yeah, that's why I looked at the strike rates now this season. And based on this season, both Tony and Kyle Verreynne strike rates have been way superior than majority of the batters in the league. I think they've got the highest. Let's check who has the highest strike rates with a certain amount of runs. So Donovan Ferreira's strike rate is the highest with 137. David Beddingham's strike rate is 135. Scored 100 and 250s in the One Day Cup. And then after that, and then George Linder's strike rate is 130, but he only played 4 games. And then after that, it's Kyle and Tony DeZorzi with 120 and 116. So those guys' strike rates were ridiculous this season, and I think that's largely a reason why they've decided to go with him. Tony DeZorzi is a very good player as well as Keegan Peterson. Abhinav says, why nowadays South African players are more attracted towards league cricket, just like West Indies cricket? Money, the amount of money they're getting. Wesley says, with such little test cricket available and economy not this strong, you can't blame players for looking at T20 leagues. Yeah, it's kind of something that we don't have to be happy about, but we kind of have to accept. You think we should go back to having a selection panel? I don't think so. I like this, that the coaches are fully involved with their selections, because then we know who's responsible. There's no like excuse now anymore. We can't say, oh no, but the selectors are crap. That's why. No, the coaches take the full responsibility, and I like it that way. And I'm sure the coaches like it that way too, because they know that if anything goes wrong with regards that, then yeah. Lawrence says the reason why Ryan's strike rate is down is as well as his runs was due to how the Lions performed this season. They often found themselves in trouble, but I agree Calvert and Terence is better this season. And I think based on this season, I think that's what they picked on. I do feel sorry for Ryan with regards to that. yeah, I feel sorry for Ryan that things have happened the way they have, um, because we were all really excited about him being selected initially, and then he barely got opportunities, and the opportunities that he did get, he never really impressed at international level, and that's a shame. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, please, to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. The subscription is 100% free, and you get every issue straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also, please do me a favor and smash that like button, comment, and share. Very important that you do so, and you can support us by becoming a patron today. Link is in the description as well. Without further ado, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with another review show on the next day. On the next day of the game, and we'll get into some live chat discussions as well. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of the evening, and peace out.